Hi everyone, welcome back to Gorgeous Griff. Obviously, I am Griff. It's lovely to see you all again. I hope you've all had a fantastic week so far. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how I created a woodland creature. So buckle in, hold on, and enjoy the show. Making bark. So just mixed up all the latex with some of the paint on a sheet, on a baking sheet, and I'm putting the hairdryer on it, and I'm making as much texture as I can on what it dries. So every time it gets that skin on it, I'm gonna just move it around and give it more texture. Look at the beautiful English weather. Can piss me down. So what I've got this all texture. This will be the bark for the creature that we're creating. But I've also added some latex onto this mannequin on the head, and he will kind of give me an idea of the look that I'm going to create. So a little bit of a base for it, so when I do it on myself I know what it's going to look like. Look at that, the wind is crazy, absolutely crazy. So while I'm watching that, while I'm letting that dry, I'm watching Children of the Corn number 2. Now that we've pulled the latex out, we've got the latex sheets. Now I've done another one here within adding some more different colours and textures to it. So now that I've powdered, pulled, cut them all up into little segments now, and get them all into little tiny squares and get all that texture, and that will be the bark of our little creature that we're making. Texture, it almost looks like animal skin, like alligator skin or some sort of reptile skin. And this one just looks really dodgy, but I'm loving all this like sinew looking things, all these textures. And then I'm just going to paint that brown, maybe some gold, highlight some of these hide bumps, like a little bit of yellow or something, or just leave them as is. But yeah, that's the bark's done. I need to obviously cut them all up into irregular shapes, and then I'll be able to stick it on to Miss Mannequin here. So I've added a mask to this because I'm going to cut all this bit off here. This is all going to be cut off. So I want to keep this string bit here. I want to keep the elastic. So I'm going to cut it here, up and around the eye, and I want to try and keep this, because when I make the leaves, I want something for it to stick onto at the back. I'm going to stick it all at the back so it just flops over. So all this is going to be gone, and then I'll be doing that once all these little bad boys are being cut down to shape and to size. Then I'll be able to structurally put them on. So now I've cut up all of these bits of latex. I've still got quite a lot of it left, but I've cut them all up into really random shapes, mostly like random shapes, as you can see. We'll see all that texture and the detail. That will be bark of the monster that we're making. So now that we've got that all sorted, I've already cut out the headpiece from the mask, and now I'm just gonna use all these little bits and basically just position them to where I want them to be, create all the actual bark to make it actually look like a thing, you know. And then I'll be able to place it behind the eyes, and then once they're all on here, I can then like cut little bits out. So all this latex here will be all cut out, and then I'll be able to attach that to myself when we do the full tutorial. So I've placed some of the cut out pieces of bark onto a baking sheet with some latex. I've just placed the pieces of bark, or the latex pieces, on it. So when they all dry, I should then be able to wrap it around the headpiece because I've just done this and it looks a bit dodgy, not gonna lie. So I'm not really quite sure if it's gonna work or not. So this is my backup to turn that into a headdress and stick that on a cowl, which I think might work a little bit better. Whereas this one, I mean, it was a good idea and I think it still might work with a little bit of finessing, or it might work for something else, maybe like a rock creature or something. I'm not quite sure if we're going to use this or not. We may use that next week's video, but we're not sure yet. But this I think is going to work perfectly. Added some more bark all over the rest of here, double layered it up. I've just added some flowers and some butterflies, some moss, just to give it that look to it, that it's actually a tree. And I've added some bark down here as well, so it's going to be on my shoulder. And then don't worry about these little drips, because I'm going to try and turn this into sap. It's coming along. It's definitely coming along. It's starting to take shape to what it's meant to be. Then we'll have some flowers and whatnot coming over, some flowers over here on the bald cap. And I've still got my sheet of bark as well, still drying. Still got my sheet of bark, still drying here. And look at that. Earlier it was pissing it down, and now we've got lovely, clear-ish skies. And it's actually quite warm. So, the joys of the summer weather, the English weather. So now that this has dried, our second piece of bark, I'm just playing around with it to see where I want it on the mannequin, on the actual thing at the end. So obviously I'm going to put a bald cap on it at the end when I start applying it, but I've just added some skewers here just to give it some shape, to see where I want it and how I want it. And I'm going to have this side all plain, so it looks like I'm trying to morph into the tree, and this face will just be all pretty looking. So now basically what I've done is I tried to put the bark behind the mask, but it wasn't really sticking, it wasn't really working very well. So I've put it on front, and I've lost obviously all the flowers and the whatnot that was there, but I'm going to add them up here, and I've left these sticks out, so I might have like a something on them if this all dries. And I've added some latex paste on the shoulder, and I've brought that up so you can see all that detail there. And I've just basically got the latex paste, and using the stirring stick, done the striations to make it look even more like bark. And then I've added some Stazaroo aqua paint to it, and I've made these striations as well, so it looks like actual bark. So there he is in his crowning glory, as it were. I've just added some paint as well, just to see what it would look like, to give it more of a tree-like feel. And I'm really hoping I'll be able to pull this off without it all tearing and becoming for knots. Yeah, slowly getting there. This looks like it's going to be a bit too thick on the head. I mean, there's only one way to find out, I suppose. I might even add some more of this texture in random places, maybe just on the sides, just on the sticks, just to emphasize, and then in the middle bits just add some flowers or something. Mother Nature tree thingy-mabob to be named is starting to get there. So now it's starting to get into shape. I've just added some bugs on it just to see if they will be interesting to have. And all this sap here, all this latex, actually helps, one, to make it look like sap, and two, just makes it a little bit more organic-y looking. So there he is. Added some fake flowers here up on there, a little butterfly. You know, I'm just testing it to see if like the butterfly would actually stick, if the bugs actually stick, and all this sort of stuff. And all these flowers. I was waiting for these ones to dry before I do anything else. Texture. If you didn't know anything else, you'd think that this is actually Mark. If it doesn't know any different, it would look like a real creature. Now he's getting there. My little tree demon. We need to think of names for him. So what I've done here now is I've taken it off the mannequin and I've cut it into little sections. So this is the neck section. So that'll be on the neck and under the chin. I've added some fake moss to it. This then is now obviously the cheek area. And thankfully I left the string on so I can actually attach this without actually gluing it on. It's all one piece. And then this is the headpiece, the cowl type of thing, or the brown piece. It's very regal and crown-like, so you can see all the details and all the little creatures that we've put in. Now that the latex is dried, you can't see any of the latex on this like it was before. And the little spider and the butterflies. And the flowers here as well. So now what I'm gonna do is, while it's all off, and it's still, this one's still a little bit drying underneath on the back of it, so I'm not gonna apply it just yet. I'm gonna apply it in maybe a day or two once it fully dries. But in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is add some more paint to it and give it a little bit more detail and texture and a bit more life to it, because I'm kind of liking how the sun hits through this. So I'm going to get that all sorted and get it painted now.